A distress signal. A distress call is an internationally recognized means for obtaining help. Distress signals take the form of or are commonly made by using radio signals, displaying a visually detected item or illumination, or making an audible sound from a distance. A distress signal indicates that a person, a group of people, ship, aircraft, or other vehicle is threatened by grave and imminent danger and requests immediate assistance. Use of distress signals in other circumstances may be against local or international law. In order for distress signaling to be the most effective, two parameters must be communicated: alert notification of a distress in progress, position or location of the party in distress. For example, a single aerial flare alerts observers to the existence of a vessel in distress somewhere in the general direction of the flare sighting on the horizon but extinguishes within 1 minute or less. A handheld flare burns for 3 minutes and can be used to localize or pinpoint more precisely the exact location or position of the party in trouble. An EPIRB both notifies or alerts authorities and at the same time provides position indication information. Maritime distress signals. Distress signals at sea are defined in the international regulations for preventing collisions at sea and in the International Code of Signals. Mayday signals must only be used where there is grave and imminent danger to life. Otherwise, urgent signals such as pan-pan can be sent. Most jurisdictions have large penalties for false, unwarranted or prank distress signals. Distress can be indicated by any of the following officially sanctioned methods: transmitting a spoken voice Mayday message by radio over very high frequency channel 16 and or high frequency on 2182 kHz. Transmitting a digital distress signal by activating the distress button on a marine radio equipped with digital selective calling over the VHF and or HF frequency bands. Transmitting a digital distress signal by activating the distress button on an Inmarsat-C satellite internet device, sending the Morse code group SOS by light flashes or sounds. Burning a red flare, lighting a non-pyrotechnic visual distress signal device, emitting orange smoke from a canister, showing flames on the vessel, raising and lowering slowly and repeatedly both arms outstretched to each side, making a continuous sound with any fog signaling apparatus, firing a gun or other explosive signal at intervals of about a minute. Flying the International Maritime Signal flags NC, displaying a visual signal consisting of a square flag having above or below it a ball or anything resembling a ball. Launching distress rockets. In addition, a distress can be signaled using automated radio signals such as a search and rescue transponder which responds to 9 GHz radar signal, or an emergency position indicating radio beacon which operates in the 406 MHz radio frequency. EPIRB signals are received and processed by a constellation of satellites known as COSPASSARSAT. Older EPIRBs which use 121.5 MHz are obsolete. Many regulators require vessels which proceed offshore to carry an EPIRB. Many EPIRBs have an inbuilt global positioning system receiver. When activated, these EPIRBs rapidly report the latitude and longitude of the emergency accurate to within 120 meters. The position of non-GPS EPIRBs is determined by the orbiting satellites. This can take 90 minutes to 5 hours after activation and is accurate to within 5 kilometers. Marine safety safety authorities recommend the use of GPS-equipped EPIRBs. A miniaturized EPIRB capable of being carried in crew members' clothing is called a personal locator beacon. Regulators do not view them as a substitute for a vessel's EPIRB. In situations with a high risk of man overboard, such as open ocean yacht racing, PLBs may be required by the event's organizers. PLBs are also often carried during risky outdoor activities upon land. EPIRBs and PLBs have a unique identification number. A purchaser should register their EPIRB or PLB with the National Search and Rescue Authority. This is free in most jurisdictions. EPIRB registration allows the authority to alert searchers of the vessel's name, label, type, size and paintwork, to promptly notify next of kin, and to quickly resolve inadvertent activations. A DSC radio distress signal can include the position if the lat/long are manually keyed into the radio, or if a GPS-derived position is passed electronically directly into the radio. A Mayday message consists of the word Mayday spoken 3 times in succession, which is the distress signal, followed by the distress message, which should include name of the vessel or ship in distress, her position, nature of the vessel, distress condition or situation, number of persons at risk to be rescued, grave injuries, type of assistance needed or being sought, any other details to facilitate resolution of the emergency, such as actions being taken, estimated available time remaining afloat. In North America, marine search and rescue agencies in Canada and the United States also recognize certain other distress signals. See marked I. White high-intensity strobe light flashing at 60 times per minute. A floating man overboard pole or dan buoy can be used to indicate that a person is in distress in the water and is ordinarily equipped with a yellow and red flag and a flashing lamp or strobe light. Unusual or extraordinary appearance when none of the above described officially sanctioned signals are available. Attention for assistance can be attracted by anything that appears unusual or out of the ordinary, such as a jib sail hoisted upside down. During daylight hours, when the sun is visible, a heliograph mirror can be used to flash bright, intense sunlight. Battery-powered laser lights the size of small flashlights are available for use in emergency signaling. Flags. For hundreds of years, inverted national flags were commonly used as distress signals. However, for some countries' flags it is difficult or impossible to determine whether they are inverted. Other countries have flags that are inverses of each other. For example, the Polish flag is white on the top half and red on the bottom, while Indonesia's and Monaco's flags are the opposite, i.e. top half red, bottom half white. A ship flying no flags may also be understood to be in distress. If a flag is available, distress may be indicated by tying a knot in it and then flying it upside down, making it into a weft. Device loss and disposal. To avoid pointless searches, some devices must be reported when lost. This particularly applies to EPIRBs, lifebuoys, rafts and devices marked with the vessel's name and port. Expired flares should not be set off, as this indicates distress. Rather, most port authorities offer disposal facilities for expired distress pyrotechnics. In some areas, special training events are organized, where the flares can be used safely. EPIRBs must not be disposed of into general waste, as discarded EPIRBs often trigger at the waste disposal facility. In 2013, the majority of EPIRB activations investigated by the Australian Maritime Safety Authority were due to the incorrect disposal of obsolete 121.5 MHz EPIRB beacons. Aviation distress signals. The civilian aircraft emergency frequency for voice distress alerting is 121.5 MHz. Military aircraft use 243 MHz. Aircraft can also signal an emergency by setting one of several special transponder codes, such as 7700. The COSPASSARSAT signal can be transmitted by an electronic locator transmitter or ELT, which is similar to a marine EPIRB on the 406 MHz radio frequency. A triangular distress pattern is a rarely used flight pattern flown by aircraft in distress but without radio communications. The standard pattern is a series of 120 degrees turns. Mountain distress signals. The recognized mountain distress signals are based on groups of 3 or 6 in the UK and the European Alps. A distress signal can be 3 fires or piles of rocks in a triangle, 3 blasts on a whistle, 3 shots from a firearm, or 3 flashes of a light in succession followed by a 1-minute pause and repeated until a response is received. 3 blasts or flashes is the appropriate response. In the Alps, the recommended weight of signal distress is the Alpine distress signal. Give 6 signals within a minute, then pause for a minute, repeating this until rescue arrives. A signal may be anything visual or audible. The rescue is acknowledged with 3 signals per minute. In practice, either signal pattern is likely to be recognized in most popular mountainous areas, as nearby climbing teams are likely to include Europeans and North Americans. To communicate with a helicopter in sight, raise both arms to indicate yes or I need help, or stretch one arm up and one down for no or I do not need help. If semaphore flags are available, they can possibly be used to communicate with rescuers. Ground distress beacons. The COSPASSARSAT 406 MHz radio frequency distress signal can be transmitted by hikers, backpackers, trekkers, mountaineers and other ground-based remote adventure seekers and personnel working in isolated backcountry areas using a small, portable personal locator beacon or PLB.